Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Kamari Ellis, your host of the Finance Rebel Show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We haven't done a live Wealthy Wednesday in a long time. I missed y'all and I wanted to bring it back, but I wanted to bring it back with a bang. So I have a special guest. Tonight's topic is how the wealthy manage their money, right? I know everybody's always interested in what the rich are doing here, what the wealthy are doing there. So I brought in a special guest who has actually worked with many of the rich and famous. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage. Welcome to the audience, Mr. Charles Tank Harris, the founder of Wealth Our Way. Mr. Harris, how are you, sir?
Sir Kamari Ellis, thank you. It is a humbling honor and just a gift to be in your presence tonight. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, thank you. Listen, everybody, you're going to hear me call him Tank, right? Because that's basically his mom ain't named him Tank, but his mama probably called him Tank. His family probably called him Tank, right? But I was just on Tank's show earlier today, so we kind of did a back-to-back special. He has Wealth Our Way, and what was the name of tonight's show?
The Financial Power Hour, and the
The,
topic was the lesson in the recession.
the lesson in the recession. So we were on there talking about the recession, and I said, so hey, if I'm coming on your show, would you do me a favor and come on mine? And the gracious host that he is, he said, of course I will come on. But he's been on with us before. He's like family, so y'all should be comfortable. Make sure y'all get y'all libation, get y'all popcorn. This is going to be fun. It's going to be entertaining as well and educational. But tell everybody just a little bit about why you're here and what qualifies you to be here to talk about the wealthy and what you do.
Appreciate that, Kamari. So my name is Charles Harris, and my mom actually did name me Tank. It's just not on my birth certificate. She gave me the nickname before we left the hospital, she told me. So I am a financial planner by trade, but my background, I got started 25 years ago as a stockbroker slash investment advisor at the Wall Street brokerage firm Smith Barney. I've worked at Payne Weber. I've worked at New York Life Insurance Company on their investment side, Eagle Strategies, and I have run two business management firms that focused on professional athletes, the Athletic Business Management Corporation and the Sports and Entertainment Financial Group. Then in 2019, I left the world of brokerage and started Wealth Our Way, which is an individual financial planning firm and a financial literacy content creator.
Got you. But many of your clients, you have worked, like you said, with many, many athletes. Many of them, many people know a lot of the rich and famous, right? So now I have worked with a lot of wealthy people, but you have worked with a lot of uber wealthy folks. Now, what do people do who are wealthy that's different than average everyday people?
The number one thing, and I was, as you were addressing the audience tonight and kind of leading me to come on to the program, I was thinking, what one thing could I say differentiates the wealthy from those of us who are trying to attain wealth? And the number one answer, which I think will bother people who are trying to attain wealth because they won't believe this, is they don't focus on their money once it's earned. They put that money into investment platforms, and we'll discuss that over the course of the show. And when I tell you that is not their focus is on the creation of the cash flow and the income that allows them to invest in things. They don't necessarily spend too much time harping on the investments. I had clients who I couldn't get a hold of, who I had 12, 13, 15 million dollars of their assets invested, and they wouldn't even take my call to do a quarterly update because they were too busy earning the money that allowed them to amass the portfolio I was managing.
Ah, that's very, very interesting. So, is it safe to say that while they're getting these funds or they're getting this money, they're either developing skills or honing their skills to get more money?
It's a little of both. So if you think about the clientele that I had, two distinctly different forums. I had a lot of clients in the sports and entertainment realm. If you know anything about athletics or high level entertainment, it is a very specialized career that requires a lot of work. Steph Curry does not hit half court jump shots. making them look as easy as he does without being in the gym 17 hours on certain days practicing that shot. So to your point, they are working on what makes them their check more than anything else. That's sports and entertainment. Business owners, exact same thing. The average business owner, when I schedule an appointment to come to their office, which more often than not, they want me there so they don't have to leave work, it's hard to get their attention behind them doing what it is that is their income generator. They're running a business, and I'm a necessary evil for them. They're like, yeah, Tank, I know we put $5 million and you did this with it and did that with it, but I got a contract coming up that's going to make us $11 million, and I'm more concerned with that. So they are always focused on what generates their wealth, and they are always focused on, as you just pointed out, tightening up whatever it is about themselves that allows them to generate their wealth. I think Dr. Stephen A. Covey, rest his soul, calls it sharpening the saw, that quadrant 3 activity that is not urgent, but it is important. That daily self-improvement, that daily tightening of the excess waste so that they can produce at the highest level.
Now, if you were talking to a regular, average, everyday person and they want to be quote unquote wealthy, what would you tell them to do?
Here are the 3. This is the order. This is it. What I found, and it's actually helped me as a businessman, what I have found is that I am not for everybody. And what I have found is, and this really was something that I had to learn over the last 25 years, when you start at a firm like Smith Barney and you're Charles Tank Harris, who was raised by a single mom on food stamps, went to college with a Pell Grant, ate government cheese, lived in row homes, dodged bullets, was in gangs, dropped out of high school. When you grow up with that background and you end up at one of the top Fortune 100 brokerage firms in the world, where the account minimum is $250,000, you have to all of a sudden become schizophrenic. You have to be able to step outside of what it is that you know and what you've always experienced and step into a world that you're not that familiar with. I learned to do that. The number one way I survived in that world was not with my intellect, not with my financial training, not with my studies. It was with my commitment to service. I was always there to service my clients, to find out what their needs and their pain points were, and to solve them. So I have a background that's steeped in service. When I now transition to Wealth Our Way, which is dedicated to helping people from underserved communities become wealthy, giving them financial literacy, giving them access to capital, providing them with advisors that look like them, service kind of has to take a back seat. And I hate saying that because I believe everybody deserves service, especially in a world where we're calling customer service departments and getting foreigners that we can hardly understand on the phone, or machines or computers that we got to keep pushing buttons. So service has to take a back seat so I can give you knowledge, because as the Bible says, our people perish for lack of knowledge. So now I have to tell you the top 3 things to convert you from what you've always thought things were to what the wealthy do and how you can do it. And those 3 things are as follows. First and foremost, it's about cash management, not investment management. So if you're on YouTube or Instagram or whatever social media forum you are, following the talking head that's telling you what options to buy or what stocks to buy, you're doing it wrong. The number one thing that you need to focus on is cash management. Cash management is synonymous with the word budget. You have to know where your money comes from and where your money is going. And you have to be proactive and dictate to your money where it's supposed to go. Too many of us live reactionary to our money. Oh, I got to pay my bills. I got to pay my rent. I got to pay my car note. You're reacting to expenses you've created for yourself. You can stop and start anew by dictating to your money what it does. So cash management's number one. The second thing is risk management. Quote the Bible again. I cannot believe I'm quoting the Bible so much because I'm a heathen. But the second thing, and it comes right from the Bible, which is God, you plan, man plans, God laughs. The best laid plans will go awry, no matter who is on your team, who is guiding you, how smart you are. When people come into my office or we meet virtually, I will start where they are today and get out of them where they want to be at certain point in time in the future. Normally, the number that they want to have in the future is higher than where they are now. And I can construct a plan, a vehicle to get them from where they are today to where they're trying to go. That's the math of it all. That's the conversation. That's the fact finding and the due diligence. What I cannot control is when you walk out of my office or push end on our Zoom call, if a house is going to fall on you, if a car is going to hit you, if you're going to die from pancreatic cancer. So we have to have risk management vehicles in place to run alongside your plan. Two things that can happen going from point A to point B. You can lose your income via death or disability. Yeah, you could get laid off and things like that, but we can fix that through different methods of bringing money in. You're either not able to work because you're physically unable or because you're dead. Risk management allows us to insure against either of those catastrophes from happening. And then the third thing, after you focused on cash management, after you focused on risk management, is what's the most sexy, exciting thing that everybody wants to talk about first. It's investment management. What do we do with the money we've carved out to put into our plan? How do we watch it grow? That's investments. But when I tell you that's the last thing to come to the dance, I swear to you, if you want to have a successful plan, you go 1, 2, 3 in that order.
Now, I'm going to push back on you. You know, I love to push back.
Yes, sir.
We just talked about something, right? Skills.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say the wealthy tend to focus on skills as well? So that should be part of that 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm sure in your mind you were thinking cash flow management is a part of that as well.
There it is.
But I feel like we have to talk about that specifically, because everything is being commoditized. What does that mean? It can be mixed and matched, and it has absolutely no value in the marketplace. And so we're seeing a lot of people, and what they're calling the Great Recession or the Great Resignation, that won't take a job or get a job and then quit. And it's funny, I was talking to my son earlier today, and he says, but people don't want to pay anything. But I said, people don't have any skills. And I said, once all this government money runs out, what are they going to do then? And so that's, I think, because, again, you and I are very similar. Service-based, our shows are oriented from the average guy and gal looking to go from 0 to 100 in terms of their finances and their money. To me, the real generator of that all is skills. And skills are an asset. They're a very precious asset. But I don't feel like a lot of times people give them the credence that they should be. Listen, LeBron James, I don't know what his last contract was, but his Nike contracts, all these other businesses didn't come just because he's a nice guy. It came because he was one of the best basketball players to come out of high school during his time.
Yep.
And that skill, right, wrong, or indifferent, if you want to judge it, that skill helps to make other people money. And so from that, he's able to then extract a piece of that or a percentage of that money to keep for himself, his family, and his homies. I mean, honestly, too, right? Because his friends are taking or are benefiting from this whole ride as well. So I would just throw skills in there also. I don't think we make a big enough deal about skills.
I agree with you completely. And if I had a organizational chart or a flow chart, skills would definitely be. So I made number 1 cash management. Skills is in cash management. So skills are very important. It's up with number 1 because, as I said, with cash management, it's the cash coming in, the cash going out. That's what cash management is. That's budgeting. What makes cash come in? Exactly what you just described, your skills. So everything starts with your skills, 100%. I was limiting my answer to the financial side of it, but the reality is that if we can't monetize what it is we know how to do, and you use the perfect word, commodities. When I became a financial advisor with Smith Barney, my license date was 9803 was my class. That's March of 1998. I got hired. Actually, fun fact, I got hired November 20-something, 29th, I think, 1997. They were calling it Black Thursday, or it was the single largest drop in the Dow Jones Industrial Average at that point in history. It's been much larger drop since then. But the day I walked in the office and set my stuff on the desk, market crashed, and everybody looked like, look at the young black guy. He did all of this. I was the youngest person and the only black person in my office. So it was like a black cat walk past. But I say that to say this. When I got my license, I had to study for the Series 7 exam to become a licensed security salesperson. And I was ready. They sent me up to Hartford, Connecticut to train me. And then they unleashed me on the public March 3rd, 1998. I was able to, the business of handling people's money was changing over from transactional stockbrokering. Hey, I'm calling you up to tell you to buy 500 shares of Disney, to let me charge you a percentage to oversee your entire portfolio. When that happened, the rates that they were charging were, the max fee was 3% to manage equities, which are stocks, and 2.1% to manage bonds. You could discount these numbers down, but those were the max numbers you could charge. You call somebody up now telling you want to charge them 3% to manage their money, they'd execute you. So they're running. So this is what we talk about when we say commodities. The intelligence has actually increased. Our ability to do our job financially has actually increased. The rate that you can charge has decreased, and it's going to keep decreasing. I am a financial planner who, I'm going to say that, I don't know if you noticed about me, I'm going to say it right now, though. Always want to break new ground. I am a financial planner who doesn't believe you should ever pay anybody for investment advice. I just don't believe in investment advice. I don't believe in the cost of it. I believe in building a diversified portfolio through ETFs and index funds. We talked about this on my show, and getting a certain amount of dollars, setting it and forgetting it, putting those dollars in, whether the recession is happening, the depression is happening, inflationary, great economy, bad economy, keep putting your money in on the time interval that you agreed to. And 25 years from now, 30 years from now, you are going to have won. Why would you pay somebody to tell you pick A versus C? Why?
So Tank's trying to trigger me, y'all. Y'all don't know that me and Tank are homies. It wouldn't be strange for us to be somewhere getting a nice fat juicy steak and having a cold one together. He knows I love investments. There is some credence to that argument, right? I'll be the first one to tell you that. Most people, because what you're looking for, right? You're supposed to get alpha. And what alpha is your investment manager's ability to outperform the market. If you can't outperform the market, there's really no need for you to be there, because most managers, most mutual funds, if you go look at 90, 95, almost 98% of the mutual funds that are out there that are actively managed, they tend to underperform the overall stock market or their overall benchmark. I don't want to get too technical because it's going to get boring, but there's something to that. There's something to that. Most people, as Warren Buffett says, should just buy a basic ETF that covers either the world or the United States, invest in that, and keep it going from there. They don't need to go any deeper and investments in that. Now, if you have great emotional intelligence, right, because everybody thinks they're the greatest day trader and they want to set up their monitors and do all that. When money's on the line, everything changes. Don't tell me what you're doing in your paper account. Paper account don't matter. Tell me what you do when it's live and direct, because that's going to separate the professionals from the amateurs. Now, you started in this market in the 90s, right? We've had a bull market.
You see the gray beard?
Yeah. We've had a bull market since March 6, 2009 till now. And everybody is this great stock market person. What do you think about that?
It's funny you say that. So the only thing that's consistent in life is change, and everything repeats itself. Everything is cyclical and comes back into style. What we've seen in bull markets make superheroes of everyone. And when I got started in 97, we were entering in or experiencing the tech boom. We were the dot-com bubble, the dot-com growth cycle. And everything, you could tie a bandana around your eyes, throw a dart at a dartboard in the tech sector and pick something that was going to triple. I still remember So we talk about ETFs, which are exchange traded funds, and index funds, which are mutual funds that don't have a manager. There's another investment bucket that doesn't get a lot of popularity. Not even sure if they still exist. Unit investment trusts.
Yeah, they still exist.
Okay,
yes.
Like I said, this is how unplugged from investments I am. So unit investment trusts. When I got started, there was a Van Kampen, it's the name of a company, Van Kampen Internet Unit Investment Trust. It had all of the tech companies in there. If I bought that for a client on Tuesday, no exaggeration, Kamari, more often than not by Friday, it was up 60%. It just couldn't miss. It was the Steph Curry of UITs. It was crazy. And I would tell my clients, hey, we just made 60%. Sometimes, most of my clients weren't in IRAs. The IRA maximums back then were $2,000. So these were in taxable accounts. And I would say, even though we have some taxes we're going to have to deal with, we need to take some of these profits off the board and spread them into the underperforming sectors. It's called rebalancing. It's called, asset allocation. And they wouldn't hear of it. They wanted to keep riding the wave. And then all of a sudden, of course, we know what happened when the bubble burst, it cracked down. To answer your question specifically about people who are superheroes and look so intelligent, E-Trade, which I think everyone has heard of at this point, E-Trade was invented right as I became a stockbroker. E-Trade came out and they had their lavish commercials of making fun of stockbrokers in the financial services industries. They were like, they would treat reputable stockbrokers like we were boiler room people just selling penny stocks to old ladies. And they would say, slap some lipstick on that pig and sell, sell, sell. And they made fun of the industry to try to convince the normal consumer, hey, you don't need to pay your investment guy or a girl. Just do this yourself through our cheap platform, E-Trade, because in this market, everybody can make money. And I'm not going to lie, it annoyed me. I had many phone calls where I'm trying to charge people for my services and they want to use E-Trade. And that is why, as a financial professional, you love bear markets and you love volatility, because everybody who thought things just go straight up, 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 and they don't need any help or advice, they learn when it's tight and tough and going down, they're clamoring for advice. So that's where that's why I don't mind all of these pundits. There's a guy who I always say, I won't name him by name because he's a brother and I'm glad he's out here doing what he's doing. But he's a former drug dealer, imprisoned guy who's now out here selling stocks. And he's telling you to buy this option. And, here's the stock I bought yesterday and why it was such a great trade and it's going through the roof. Yo, if you want to follow a cat like that, do your thing. But understand, you are not investing first and foremost. You're trading. Big, huge difference. And I'm not knocking trading, but wealth is built through investing. Wealth is built through consistent growth based on principles. And that's not what they're selling on the internet these days.
I will say this, because I know exactly what you're talking about. He does promote investing.
Okay.
He will talk about some other things, but to be fair to the brother, right? Because we got to be fair to our people. He does promote investing. I can't sit here and say that everything is, on the up and up, but I've seen some stuff that I was happy with.
I got to look a little deeper, I guess, into them, him and the people who are like him, because some of the things I hear, I just laugh. It makes me happy because I know that what you and I do is needed, because I have clients, and it's funny because the way the algorithms, I guess, work on Instagram, if someone is your friend or follows you and you see that person's stuff on your feed and they liked it, that's the person's name you're going to see who liked it. And I see my clients liking this cat, and I'm like, are you out of your damn mind? Why are you listening to this dude? Now I see why you called me last week and asked to buy 50 shares of Amazon. Like, you're following the wrong system here, bro.
All right, so real quick, let's check in with the people. Question of the day: did any of you buy the Amazon stock split? All right, so that is the question of the day, but let's check in with everybody real quick. What's up, Jose? Good to see you, brother. All right, Miss Edie was there. How you doing? All right, Renee is in the building. All right, that's the other Wealth Highway champion over there. All right, my brother Jimmy is in the building. Thank you to Jimmy.
What's Jimmy?
Thank you for the super chat, sir. Thank you. You get the horns for that. So Jimmy said, just want to shout out Both of y'all brilliant brothers. Jimmy, thank you, brother. Thank you. Jimmy, I see you out here doing webinars with people. I need to get you on so we can talk about this camp. Jimmy does a camp. I volunteered with him and Corey. I shouldn't say Jimmy. Jimmy and Corey from Fatherhood do a kids camp. It's free. It's open for everybody. I want to push it. I support it. I love what they're doing. So again, shout outs to both of them over there. Tasha Wana. Tasha Wana's following us around tonight. All right.
We love it.
We got that good.
Yes.
Gotta give her the horns too. All right. So thank you for tuning in with us as well. Now, y'all be sure to throw any of your questions in. If you have any questions, put a Q in front of them so we can catch them and we'll get them at the back end of the show. All right, Jose says, love it out. Paper trading account. You will have that feeling like you're God in these markets, yes. And you go live and realize you're in kindergarten because you don't have a trading plan. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. How you doing, Carl? Welcome. BH Capital, that's my homegirl Lance over there. What's up, Lance? How you doing? Welcome. Lance is about that trade life. She get busy. Shout out to Lance. What's up, Larry? How you doing?
Can I say something while you're reading to the people, or is my turn?
Go ahead. No, go.
I think people think that I hate trading, and that's not true at all. For people who know me, my background, I'm a math guy. I went to school for actuarial science and finance, and I used my math skills to play professional blackjack for 3 years. So I'm a gambler, but there's a place for gambling, and then there's a place for consistent wealth building. And the reality is that trading, not only is it so inconsistent with your ability to predict your results, but it's the most expensive way to make money. You're the tax man. You understand that all trading success is short term, and short term is the highest we can be taxed at. I believe there was an article maybe a year and a half ago about a brother on Robinhood who was doing some trading and did not understand the 30-day wash rule and thought that he could net out his losses against his gains and ended up with a huge tax bill because his wash loss concept was incorrect. And every gain that he made was a short-term gain, and it ate up like 70% of his profits.
Yeah, short-term trades will eat you up. But I will say this, again, there are some people, very few, that are really, really good, have the emotional fortitude to be day trader, swing trader. You don't have to be just a day trader to get busy in these markets. You can do some things. Matter of fact, again, shout out to Jimmy. He gets busy too. Jimmy gets busy too. But I'll say this though: proceed with caution. Be willing to lose money if that's the route you want to go, because again, it's a skill, and any skill. Again, I talked about LeBron earlier. Y'all think LeBron never fell when he dunked, or LeBron never slipped when he was trying to cross somebody over? I mean, so it's just an occupational hazard. But go ahead, Tank.
I think people are going to think that I'm in church 7 days a week with the number of times I'm referencing the Bible, and then my next statement is going to be about my pastor. But I'm not fronting. These are just what's coming to my head. My pastor told me about doing what you do. So we were talking. I referenced being a card player at one point, and my pastor.
You actually didn't.
What's that?
You didn't.
I said I played cards for a few years professionally. I didn't go deep into it. I just referenced it. I'll say this. I asked my pastor about it one time because, if you don't know things that you hear half-truths, consistency from finance to weight loss to the Bible. People misquote the Bible all the time, and they say gambling is a sin. Nowhere in the Bible did it say that. It talked about money changers being thrown out the church, but I don't want to go down that slippery slope. The reason I bring it up is this. My pastor told me about my card playing. He knew that I did it. He knew that I did it well. I was making 6 figures a year counting cards in casinos across the globe. He said, Tank, it's not that you playing cards is wrong. It's not a sin. It's not immoral. He said, but you call yourself a Christian. You try to be a Christian. Christians have an obligation to make sure that the actions that they take don't cause other people who are viewing them to stumble. And just because you can walk into a casino with a system, with knowledge, with skill, and walk out with a profit over time, other people are going to see you do that, liquidate their 401k or take their kids' 529 money and try to put it all on black on the roulette wheel and end up penniless and insane. So you got to watch what you're showing. I say that little bit of a tidbit to people who promote trading. Yeah, I am sure there are people who are making millions of dollars successfully trading. They have devoted their life to it. They have 57 screens. They have knowledge. They have information that flows freely to them. Most people who are watching them don't have those tools and will end up harmed from that practice.
Facts. Matter of fact, gotta give you the horns for that too, brother. Gotta give you the horns for that. I agree. I'll say that. I was going to say something, but I'll say that. But again, question of the night: did you buy the Amazon split? Did you buy the Amazon split? And we're going to talk about the Amazon split just a little bit, but I want to go back real quick, Tank. So we talked about the things of importance to go from being dirt poor to being wealthy. Skills number 1, cash flow number 2, risk management number 3. Was it tax management number 4, and then number 5 was investment management? Or did I just add that in?
So
I
number
think
4,
I just added that in, right?
Yeah, we added tax management in. It's great because you and I were talking about this in between our shows. Tax management has its place at every level of the ones that we listed. So tax management isn't a line item. It's interwoven in every line item. If you are talking about your cash management, this is the money you earn that you bring in, and then you net it against your expenses to figure out your, income that you can invest, save, or spend. The way you earn your money, whether you're a W-2 employee or a 1099 business owner or independent contractor, these have tax implications and ramifications. And as a result, there's taxes present. The expenses we take, taxes can be present because some of our expenses are tax deductible, some of them are not. When we look at our risk management, insurance, tax-free as that money comes in. We have to look at our disability insurance when we get it. A portion of it could be taxable. So there's tax in every element of it, especially in investments. I just got finished going on my soapbox about trading. One of the reasons I'm anti-trading is because of its not good tax nature, so to speak, whereas long-term investing has much better tax ramifications. I have had seminars where I've taught people and gotten to vocal arguments with people about the difference between tax deferred accounts and taxable accounts, and explaining to certain people, especially at higher income thresholds, where it's more beneficial to them to have a taxable brokerage account than to have a tax deferred account. For certain people, see, once again, and you use this term all the time, which is why I respect you, finance is personal finance. The advice I would give one person may not fit another person. If I'm going to grow $5 million inside of a tax deferred account, and when I go to take it out, because we've had stimulus packages, to fund the pandemic, the tax rate one day is 67%. My $5 million now, 3.5 million of it's going to taxes, damn near, and I get 1.5 million of it. Had I had it in a taxable brokerage account, I could have tax loss harvest every year. And then when I finally take my money out, I'm at the long-term capital gains rate if Biden doesn't change it to be the ordinary income tax rate. But in any event, I can tax control each year. So if people just listen to the first part of it, do you want to defer your taxes or pay your taxes now? A logical person would say, defer them. I don't want to pay taxes, but you're missing the whole story. Can I lower my ultimate tax rate by using a taxable account? In some instances, you can. So taxes are woven into every line of that list. Skills, cash management, risk management, investment management.
And since we're talking taxes, I got to talk about it, right? One thing a lot of people don't realize is that you actually need tax diversification as well.
100%.
For a myriad of reasons, I won't go into them. But you can do tax diversification through some things, right? We talked about it being interwoven through various personal accounts, tax deferred accounts, municipal bonds, life insurance. Like I've been talking to a lot of high income earners lately, and I'm telling them that they should look at cash value life insurance. Now,
100%.
Again, to your point about personal finance being personal, by the way, I got that from somebody else. It's not mine. I can't take credit for it. But they think insurance is like the worst thing ever. And it's just
Mhm.
like, you folks with these extremes, it's like, we don't always have to be the Democrats and Republicans about personal finance. We don't have to be at two different extremes, because then you'll also see people that say term insurance is terrible. And I say, no, it's not, especially if you're broke. If you lose the fight with that train today and you can't make it home to your baby girl or your wife, they would need that term life insurance policy, right? But again, it just all depends, folks. It all depends.
Let me say
Now,
something. Let me,
yep,
if you don't mind. I tell people whether I'm talking on my content shows or whether I'm talking to an individual client, one of the lines, and I probably should trademark this, but y'all can have it. Whoever steals it and uses it in the future, go ahead and use it. There is no such thing as a bad financial product. I stand by that statement. There are financial products that have cost people every dime that they've ever had. And they would argue, no, that's a bad financial product, Tank. It's a crime. And I'm going to say, nope, there is no such thing as a bad financial product. What there are bad financial marriages. There are, I can make a CD, which is the safest way to put your money away. I can make a CD dangerous. I can make a CD harm you.
now
If
this is what I'm going to be piggyback off you.
Yep.
What I say is there's no bad financial tools. They're all just tools. What there is bad strategy.
Yeah,
And most
same
people
same thing.
have no strategy. And the audience has heard me say this a million times. So, I mean, that's why Tank and I are actually friends in real life.
Yeah,
But
it's the same thing. Somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, I just inherited $200,000. My aunt died. I inherited $200,000. I'm thinking about buying a piece of land, subdividing it, and building 4 houses on it to do whatever and sell them.
and
What should
it's
I
on a
do with?
swamp. It's on a swamp. Don't forget the swamp.
Don't forget the swamp. What should I do with the $200,000? Well, when you buying this, sweetheart, I want to buy it in 5 months, 7 months. Let's put you in a 3 month CD and just hold them. That's the best I can do for you. Rates are starting to rise back up. Maybe we do a money market so it's even more liquid. That's it. CD for you. Another person comes, they're 23 years old, fresh out of college. They want to start saving money for retirement. I put them in a CD. I should be shot. I should be shot in the back of the head and my family should be billed the price of the bullet. Like, it's horrible, horrible advice. Same tool. For one person, it's the perfect tool. For another person, it's the worst thing in the world. So
Facts.
it's not the product, it's the marriage or the strategy that you use this tool with.
Facts. Facts. All right. So, again, going back over it, skills, cash flow management, risk management, which is what?
Risk management is insurance, basically. There are other things to do to mitigate your risk besides for insurance. But once
Come
again,
on, man. Stop with them SAT words. What is mitigate? Now,
mitigate
I got
means,
a lot of smart people here, so I know they know what they mean, know what
yeah,
that means. But
we want to
break that down.
mitigate means we want to lessen our exposure to risk. Risk management, in its most simplest form, means taking some risk that you were exposed to and giving that risk to somebody else, sharing it with them. Insurance is the key way to do that. If I make $500,000 a year and I have a 4 year old, I always tell my clients, you should make sure your income will be around until your child is scheduled to do 4 years of college. Now, that's not saying the child has to go to college. The kids aren't going sometimes these days. This is just the tank rule. My rule is don't just say until they're 18, say 4 years of college. So 4 years of college, 22, 23, you got a 4 year old, your income is expected to come through the door every year for the next 19 years. 19 times half a million is $9.5 million. With every year that passes, we need 500,000 less of it because you earned it. But let's just say day one, I need to make sure that $9.5 million will come into the Harris household if something happens to me tomorrow. Well, if I had 9.5 million saved up in a fund somewhere that's going to be given to my wife and my kid after taxes, I don't need any insurance. My risk is covered. But if I don't, there's a insurance company ABC over there that says, give me $300 a month, Tank, and I'll make sure to write that check for 9.5 million if something happens to you. I have now transferred my risk to them for a price, and the price is that insurance premium. That is the most basic, simplistic answer for insurance. There are other strategies that insurance helps you with. The one thing that I've learned from going from being a very poor person as a child to being a person who's considered upper middle income and from my friend's standpoint, well off, is that most of the tools that are out here, they are made on a very simple level for people. And smart people, and it's not to say people who don't do it are dumb. So let me correct. I won't even use smart. Let me correct myself already. Clever people who have a mind toward maximizing their financial situation. They will look at that rule that was made ordinary for everybody, and they will find a way to twist it, turn it on its ear, and make it maximize for them. Cash value life insurance was not designed to make people wealthy. It was not designed to avoid or mitigate taxes. It was designed to be a savings account while you had your insurance needs met. But wealthy people said, ooh, taxes is the number one eroder of my wealth and my ability to pass my money on from generation to generation.
I've heard that before.
You mean to tell me I could use this product to make that not happen? I have sat in rooms with very wealthy people, net worths of 100, 200, 300 million dollars, and made them a tax plan, which basically by using whole life, custom whole life, or an index universal life policy, one of those three, I have shown them what their tax bill would be if they had to pay it themselves or their children had to pay it themselves versus how paying this insurance premium could quote unquote prepay their tax bill. So a tax bill that may be $20 million one day, I could show them by putting $2 million in insurance premiums in this policy will solve a $20 million problem down the road. And wealthy people sign up for it every day. The problem is when some greedy insurance salesman comes into your living room and tells you that story, gets you all hype, and you make $42,000 a year. This ain't your life. You don't need that same product. So once again, not a bad product, a bad marriage if they tell you you need that. It's personal, and we got to figure out the plan for you. And so many people are running around telling stories of woe and glum and doom. And I hate insurance people. I hate investment people. Susie Orman wants to kill anybody who sells an annuity. All these people are running around with these bad stories because somebody took a very helpful, useful product and weaponized it against you. And that's always going to hurt.
Yeah, it's funny. I get all these people that are selling products, and people, clients and friends send me all these Instagram reels, YouTube videos, so forth and so on. And I think one that's running around now is some quote unquote real estate guy is now telling people to invest in IULs or index universal life insurance. And I'm like, I know he doesn't understand that product because I know him. And he's selling it to people who oftentimes don't need it. But he won't take the time to explain that in his videos or give a disclaimer or anything. And sadly, people keep following this stuff. But again, in my personal opinion, I think life insurance, y'all know I love the stock market. Life insurance is probably the best financial tool ever created.
Can I tell you something funny that, and I'm guessing because I think I know the guy you're talking about.
We didn't know names.
We
won't talk about people, no names. Yeah.
But what I'll say is what's really funny, and another fun fact to break for your audience, Big Tank was investigated by the SEC my last year at my broker-dealer, and no one from the SEC would tell me why I was under investigation. They did a thorough investigation. I was shook daddy. Like, when them alphabet boys come for you, like Jay-Z say, whether it's the IRS, the SEC, FINRA, ATF, whoever, when the alphabet boys come for you, you get nervous. Even if you've done nothing wrong. And I knew I did nothing wrong, but I couldn't for the life of me understand why the SEC was investigating me. They did a thorough investigation. I had the higher ups at New York Life and Eagle Strategies calling me, asking me what I had ever done and going on. Came through this investigation, rosy, nothing wrong. They didn't tell me afterwards though why I was investigated. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was investigated because of the guy you just mentioned. I have a friend. You know my friend.
We have a friend, and that's how I know that person as well.
Yeah, we have a friend together. The friend said, hey, this person's doing an academy. Would you go speak at their academy I did. And this is why I used to hate working in New York Life. I'm going to say this right now. I used to hate working in New York Life the same way a kid hates listening to their parents. You hate when your parents telling you no, 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 because you think you know better and you think you're ready to go out in the world. New York Life gives you the hardest effing time when you are an agent or an investment professional there, when you want to go speak at places, when you want to go do a radio show or speak at a conference or go on the internet, they damn near give you a proctology exam before they will say yes. And then when they finally do say yes, they give you a script on what you can say. Well,
Facts.
Big Tank is to carry my man's name, a bit of a rebel. So I go and do it. I believe it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. I go do the show. And when they find out about it, I tell them, I'm sorry, I didn't know the process. This is why they are so careful to protect their brand and not let people run out and do their shows. I went and did this guy's webinar, did his little weekend thing. I did 3 different panels and workshops. I just talked about investments, blah, blah, blah. The guy then went on to be accused of messing up millions of dollars of people's monies. And he was investigated by the SEC, and my name was at one of his damn workshops. And I couldn't for the life of me figure out why I was being investigated. And then I realized it. And I said, you know what? This is why you can't just go on everybody's show or everybody's panel or whatever, because I didn't know the dude was Fugazi. We found out later on.
You got to be careful about who you stand next to. Right.
True.
You got to be careful. And going back to your point about compliance, because that's what he's talking about. Because y'all know I was licensed 7, 6, 63, 65, licensed in health. I hated compliance. I wrote an article for Seeking Alpha over a decade ago, and they were ready to fire me. Mm-hmm. Why? Because I didn't get clearance. And I hated it because I'm like, yo, this is an abuse of my First Amendment right. And then I start getting a little bit deeper into this, and it's like, oh, this is why. Because they have millions, billions, sometimes trillions of dollars under management. And if you ever get caught up in a Madoff type situation, it could be kaputs for everybody. Lights out. And so that's why they're overcautious. And so actually legal is also another risk management strategy as well.
Exactly.
For folks. So keep that in mind as we stay on topic with everything that we're doing.
As Jay-Z said, jewelry is cool to cop, but more important is lawyer fees.
So real quick, I got to dovetail into this. So shout out to Jimmy, right? That's Jimmy right there. Who I knew through this one. We know. But me and Jimmy were just talking about that bar you just dropped from Jay-Z. And the context was, I was watching an interview with 21 Savage being interviewed on Matt Hoffa show. If y'all don't know, I'm a major hip hop head. Major. And so 21 Savage was talking about the 3 things that Jay-Z spends his money on. You want to guess what they are?
I want to guess what they are?
Yeah, did you see that interview?
I didn't see the interview, but I definitely got to say legal. He definitely spends a lot of money on legal.
Legal was up there. So it was like the first things he's got is legal as lawyer, right? And this is public knowledge. Just Google 21 Savage. Lawyer, personal chef. Damn, what was the third one? What was the third one, Jimmy? Me and Jimmy was talking about this. That's why I found it so interesting, right? Lawyer, chef. I know art was in there, but there was another one. But it's
Carl Black says coaching. Is it coaching?
No. Oh, and by the way, if anybody were to take lunch with Jay-Z over $1 million, I would fight you myself. But that's a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing. But money, it was
concierge doctor.
Chef. It was chef. Oh, that's what it was. Doctor. It was doctor. Right. Thank you, Jimmy. Concierge doctor, lawyer, and chef.
Yep.
So two of the 3, right? And I know we're going off a little bit of a dovetail into the weeds, but 2 of the 3 were for health. Right. That really got me, right?
Yeah.
Because rich people want health. Health really is wealth, right?
Right.
And then the first one was a lawyer, or one of them was a lawyer. And that shows you that, if you understand the laws, that can go a long ways. That can help you leverage deals to make more money, and also protect you from losing money as well. So,
Yo, I see over your shoulder, and I see it faintly because I got my glasses on. But is that Black Fortunes by Shamari Wells? Love that.
yes, sir, it is.
Love
Yes,
that book.
sir,
We got to
is.
learn our history. Our history does not start on this soil in chains and coming off of boats. One of my favorite books, and the gentleman just passed not too long ago, is Our Kind of People. It talks about the Black wealth enclaves in America, in Philly, Germantown, West Oak Lane, Mount Airy, in the Inkwell, in Martha's Vineyard,
Yep.
all of the Divine Nine, the Boulay, all of these, and how prestigious our historical Black colleges were when we suffered through segregation. I had an epiphany moment in my life when I read $40 Million Slaves by Bill Rhoden. I used to always believe, and I'm not ashamed to say this, I'm not always right. I grew up into adulthood believing that segregation was horrible for us, and that the greatest thing we ever were able to enjoy as Black people in America was integration. That, to also quote Jay-Z from American Gangster, where he says, "Who in the ghetto knows how to be successful?" That in order to enjoy wealth and to learn what these white people were doing, we needed to integrate with them and learn. And I always believed that until I read $40 Million Slaves. Because I'm 52 now, I was not born when we as Blacks had so much wealth and power and infrastructure inside of our own community. So I never saw that. I saw Black ghettos and poverty. As a result of that, when I got a chance to see what we had, that the Black football teams used to beat the hell out of the Alabamas and the USCs of the world, and we were a power in and of ourselves, I see that integration took the best of what was prominent in the Black community out of the Black community. It took it out the Black community and put it in the white community where we'll never be accepted, so to speak. And then it left ghettos behind. So I changed my whole frame of mind on those two books, Our Kind of People and $40 Million Slaves, understanding the true value of what it is to have the skills that come inherently with us as African Americans.
All right, so I have not read that book. I would love to have a dialogue with you about that. I never felt that way. That's why I'm a little shocked that you felt that way, but that's cool. But yeah, I'm going to read that book and definitely check it out. I would say though, we never really had integration. We had desegregation. And it's a very nuanced thing, right? And some people might say I'm splitting hairs. I'm not. There's a difference, because even with the passing of the Civil Rights Bill and the Voting Rights Act, our schools never were desegregated, quote unquote, right? And we never really got to fair, or was it separate but equal?
Separate but equal. We got separate.
Right.
We never got equal.
Right. We never got that. And that's what that whole fight was for. And it's crazy. But there was a lot of wealth loss. But I hear people say one of the worst things that happened to Black people is integration, right, or desegregation. But I also kind of shake my head at that too, right? Because when you look at what King went through, what Malcolm X went through, Medgar Evers, Banyard Rustin, who nobody really talks about, they sacrificed a lot so we could do what we're doing right now. And we oftentimes take for granted that if we were under the old good old boys rule, we might not have access to the internet. We might not be able to take them flights the way folks are taking flights. Now, Black folks were traveling overseas, but it came at a heavy cost, right? And it also saddens me that I see so many people of us take so little interest in the political system, because the political system really drives a lot of policy and money that we never think about.
Agreed.
Whether it's allocations of a road, allocations to a school, allocations to an airport that's going to potentially create more jobs for people in our community, oftentimes we are not at the table, so we are on the menu and being eaten up. But tonight's show was not supposed to be about politics. And
You see
y'all
how
know,
we were right Malcolm X on him real quick, didn't we?
yeah. I mean, because listen, it's all intertwined, right? That's why what you said about the lawyer, what Jimmy sparked the memory that health is wealth. Matter of fact, you and I talked about health is wealth earlier, right?
Yep.
All this stuff is intertwined. Sadly, we only focus on a lot of times the money part of it. And me, you, Jimmy, and Corey, to my knowledge, I could be wrong, but we are the only people out here that are truly talking about wealth, Black wealth, from a truly holistic standpoint. So shout out to Bada Hood Podcast. Check that out. Wealth Our Way and the Finance Rebel Show. I don't know of anybody else from a financial standpoint that really integrates it all as it relates to Black folks. So,
I agree with you. And I want to say this because I used to have to defend athletes and entertainers all the time about their what looked to be frivolous use of their money. And it ties into something you just said, and people may not think it does. So the reason health becomes so important to people who are wealthy is they pretty much got the cheat code for life. They got all the money they want. Now they want to live forever. Like now we've switched gears. It's a matter of focus. So there's a gentleman, Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yep.
It talks about where we are as human beings and what we value and what we focus on. The very first thing, it's the difference between surviving and thriving. The very first thing we are as human beings, we need to make sure our physiological needs are met. Safety, shelter, security, they have to be met. We can't concentrate on anything else until they're met. Once they're met, then we look to do relationships, to gravitate toward others, to find love, things of that nature. And then lastly, we worry about trinkets, personal things that will advance us and make us happy. Well, if you think about professional athletes and entertainers and anybody who's achieved a nice level of financial wealth, their safety and security, unless they're of ill health, which brings us back to the doctor, unless they're of ill health, their safety and security is met like a muggo. They're not worried about that. Right. They have people trying to be around them, so they're not worried about going out and finding relationships. They now can focus on things. I heard Mariah Carey got clowned one time because in one of her riders, she demanded 850 thread count sheets at the hotel she was staying at, or she wasn't coming. And people are like, oh, people are out here dying and she worried about thread sheet counts. She can worry about that because nobody in her skills. She has the skills and all of the stuff up the ladder for her is already met. When you're still trying to figure out how you're going to pay your $40 Boost mobile bill, you're not worried about sheet thread count. So we have to realize where everybody is and not be so judgmental when we hear somebody thinks a certain way. Perfect. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There we go. So the reality becomes we have to realize where we are on our personal journey. Wealth and health and everything else ties in together because once we have achieved wealth, which so many of us in the African American community haven't. So once we achieve it or some level that we're comfortable with, now we focus on our health. And yes, maybe it should be the other way around. But when you have loved ones and people who depend upon you, money, cash rules everything around me. Let's close on a Wu-Tang line. You got to have this bread to get ahead.
First you get the money, Chico, then you get the power. And from there, they will respect you. But I would say that ideology is a very much Americanized ideology.
Yes.
And I'm not really even pushing back. I'm just saying that I feel we probably need to refrain and focus more on the health because so many of us are dying from gun violence, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've seen how crazy this is. Heart health, I believe heart attacks are like the number one killer in the Black community for the most part. Don't quote me on that. Somebody fact check me on that. But there's a lot to that. How many of us have hypertension? I know I'm guilty of that. And so we're not even, honestly, a lot of times living long enough and having clarity of thought, right? Just think about how much better we will be able to think to get to the money if we prioritize our health first.
Agreed.
So, I get it. But point is that all this stuff matters. And you can't really negate or neglect any of it. And this all comes back to financial planning and wealth management because, I've only worked with a couple of quote unquote superstar athletes and only in a support role. Like I wasn't the guiding person. However, you have been working with that. And so when we go back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? You can't tell me this 19-year-old or this 20-year-old who just got this contract is not thinking about level one: air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, reproduction.
Right.
You can see it play out, right? Especially when I read reproduction, because we know what that is all about,
I
right?
know what that's about, no doubt.
Right. So when you look at that, it's like, well, how do you prioritize your money to kind of fit through Maslow's hierarchy of needs? I mean, is that something you kind of go through as well?
I do. I mean, there's so much about money that is psychological. I used to always tell my guys and women clients too. I had a lot of entertainer clients that were female, and now ball players of both sexes are making a good amount of money and need financial management. And what I would tell them is, let's get our money plan together before we get emotional, before the money shows up. Let's get our plan together before people start asking. Because I saw your TikTok about, in the Black community, we go backwards with our money. We take care of mom. We take care of this. One of the biggest hurdles that I had for my clients when it came to their cash flow management was all the people they wanted to take care of. The guy who was their AAU coach for 9 years and who kept them from getting shot when they walked to the schoolyard to go shoot free throws. There's a sense of loyalty that comes from our understanding of life that other people don't necessarily have to deal with. And I said to them, let's pay these people. I'm not going to be the financial, which is why I think I was so popular and so good at my job. I wasn't the person that told them, no, forget that AAU coach or your uncle. You got to take care of you, and maybe you could take care of your mom, but everybody else is off the table. I understood. But what I told them is, we're going to budget for that. You're going to be, you're going to be charitable. We're going to make a line item. 10% of your money is going to go to help these people. But here's how we're going to do it. We're going to demand that they apply for this money, whether it's a grant or a loan. They're going to write to you about the money. That's going to weed out half the people who are asking you for something. Then we're going to make sure that the money does something that won't have them asking you for it again next week. We're going to make sure that they can get a skill, as you talk about skills, go to barber school, go become a bartender, do something. Don't call me to pay your light bill, because your light bill comes on every month. You'll be calling me next month. Call me to teach you how to fish as opposed to buying you a fish. And that was always a part of our budgeting discussion.
Right. And I mean, listen, those people did provide value. I don't know if anybody remembers, right? But when LeBron, I think it was like after he graduated, no, I think it was his senior year, my man either had a Rover or a Hummer. Forget which one it was.
Hummer.
He had a Hummer. LeBron hadn't made no money yet. His mama ain't had no money. And I believe at one point he was living with a coach. Now, I'm not sure. And I don't bring these facts up to try to disparage LeBron, but I'm just saying that there are people working in the system where money is flowing through. Yep. And a lot of times those people have to be paid back.
Exactly. So, hey, I do want to shamelessly plug the Wealth Our Way Network YouTube page. I would like if
of course,
the people who are hearing my voice tonight, if they like what they're hearing, could please go subscribe to Wealth Our Way Network. It's our YouTube page, and we have Wealth Our Way on Facebook. I love Kamari. This is my guy, and Jimmy and Corey as well. These are my people. Not just because they look like me, which is the first reason I love them. They're Black men, and we out here being hunted. But it's more because they speak to the people. They speak to the necessities that are missing in our community. They will help you in a heartbeat. And I am so honored and privileged that they consider me a friend and a brother, like that they asked me to come on their shows, and they're always welcome on mine. And we were talking about this off air, the cross collaboration, because there are beliefs and ideas that one person may have that another person says, well, as soon as they hear it, like the book earlier, I was taking a picture of the chat earlier. Somebody put a book up there. I'm always down to learn. And We need to do more of that. So I'd appreciate any support of Wealth Our Way through the following of the Wealth Our Way Network page. I thank you, Kamari, for putting that up there in the chat.
All right, so listen, Wealth Our Way is at 94 subs. Do me a favor. There's 24 people in the room right now. I know there are going to be more people that are going to watch the replay. Let's get our guy up to at least 200 by tomorrow, by the end of the week. Do me that favor. If y'all rock with me, rock with Tank. He's solid people.
Thank you, brother. I sincerely appreciate that, my guy.
Of course. Now, I was going to show this since you brought it up, and we're going to come back to, again, how wealthy people manage their money. And if you didn't miss it, we've been kind of talking about it all the way through, right? But I'm like a TikTok sensation right now, folks.
I got these streets.
That's a joke. Not at all. But I did have a post go viral on TikTok, right? For the most part, I get like 5 views on TikTok, 2 views on TikTok, maybe 200 views here or there. But I got over 81,000 views on this video I posted last night. So in like the last 24 hours, somehow this sucker went viral. But I want to talk about this. So let's see if we can play it. Now, to give credit where credit is due, because I never want to plagiarize, this is a clip from I Am Athlete, right? And so the guys that were there were on the show I Am Athlete from Brandon Marshall, but there's also now two shows because they kind of split up. It's I Am Athlete and The Pivot. So some of the guys that are on there from The Pivot now or with The Pivot now, and they do a lot of the same stuff. They interview athletes and celebrities and things like that. They have a lot of good interviews on there. But I wanted to look at this one. Now, I have a feeling I didn't turn my audio on. Could you hear that, Tank?
I tell you, technology vexes me.
Yeah, so give me 1 second and I will turn the audio on. Make sure I got it on. Let me stop. Give me 2 seconds. And I'm coming back to the chat because there's a couple of things in the chat that a couple of people I want to acknowledge and a shout out to. Yes, so I did not turn on the audio. Now I'm getting better. I caught it. I at least caught that I didn't turn on the audio, right? But I want to show this clip again from I Am Athlete. Now the gentleman on there, his name is Wale. He's like the head of wealth management globally. He does a lot of entertainment athlete wealth management. And so to set the context for this, because a lot of people got the context wrong. He's talking about what normally happens with Black athletes when they get their first deal and why it can be problematic. He's not disparaging anybody. He's just talking about how a lot of times it can be problematic for the athletes and their families, because the average life of a pro football player is about 3 years. And when I say average life, usually pro football, they play about 3 years. And sadly, within 5 years, they're filing bankruptcy. So there's a big gap in knowledge a lot of times with many of the pro athletes. So let's check this out real quick.
Which way should money flow in the family? Which way should it go? Down. Go down. Yes. When you got your first check, who you had to take care of? Oh, you had to go backwards.
Oh, Wale. He hit it. We had to go
backwards.
Hit that again.
We had to
hit that again. I'm with you, D. Hit that again.
What he say? Yeah, take care of it. You preaching. No, go back. He preaching. This is why that boy global.
Fred is right. Fred is right.
No, bro, you got to say that again, bro. No, because like
so
like,
money.
No, because he doesn't want to say it.
Money and family.
When other cultures get money, it all goes down.
Down.
When Black folks get money, you have to go up.
In a majority of situations,
yes, take care of parents and grandparents
like,
and all
you'd
that.
be crazy not to.
Oh my goodness!
So it goes this way, and that's where which way should money flow?
So hopefully everybody heard that. In the chat, everybody hit a 1 if you could hear that. I want to make sure everybody can hear that. So basically, he was talking about the way money should flow. And in the comments, folks were like, well, you're supposed to take care of your people. That's why we're not together. But he was really talking about our parents should already be set up and anything extra that's coming in from this big windfall, whether it's a lottery, whether it's a contract, whether it's some kind of record deal, whatever it is, should come to kind of further the wealth. Not necessarily leave anybody behind, not necessarily not take care of anybody, but it's supposed to go to furthering the wealth. Now, obviously, people want to take care of their folks, but y'all know the deal, right? Got to get mama a house. Got to get daddy a truck. And they always are spending things that are on these frivolous, a lot of times depreciating assets. And they're not really taking care of the business to make sure that they can still keep that money going up to their parents in the long run, as opposed to just doing it at this first, let's say, drop in the bucket, so to speak.
When I was working,
could you hear that? Could you hear that clip?
I heard the clip perfectly.
Okay.
There was a gentleman that played for the San Francisco 49ers when I was working with athletes prominently, named Steve Wallace. He was an offensive lineman, and his mom and dad actually sued him when he couldn't afford to keep them in the house that he had bought them. He wanted to downsize them to a nice house, still in California, almost $1 million house. But he wanted to downsize them from a house that was a couple of $1 million, and they weren't having it. They sued their own son. The reality is you touched on something about not that it's a bad thing to look out for your parents or people who helped you out, but it goes back to what I said about teaching a person to fish. If you don't equip someone with, especially with a house, the house has expenses in perpetuity. That's never going to end. So buying me a house, that's paying the price. It's not keeping up the cost. And now if I've put you into a situation where in perpetuity, I have to keep putting money in your pocket to keep your lifestyle, I'm not helping the family in the long term. And I saw a lot of comments on the post where people were saying other communities do it. They do help out, and they do. I know a lot of Asian people. I know a lot of Hispanic people who live multiple generations to a house, all sharing the wealth to further their family. So it's not just that we do it as Black people. The difference is, and my wife and I had a conversation about this the other day, the other cultures tend to do it with a plan. Hey, we're going to all live in this house for 5 years for a reason. And then we're going to be able to let Jimmy and Jesse and Jenny go their own separate ways with more moving forward. Where once again, we're doing it out of survival. We're doing it to survive. They're doing it to thrive. And we have to come up with a long-term plan. I got the buzzer. I love it. If I get the horn, that means I did something good. I'm a middle child. I need my gold star acknowledgments.
Hey, man, that's not a problem. That's not a problem. I mean, you said it perfectly, right? A lot of times we will clown our Latino brothers and sisters because they live in 5, 6, 7, 28, 39 in a house. But what you don't realize is one of your biggest expenses is housing. It's usually anywhere from 35 to 50% of your average or of your overall income, right? They're splitting that. And what are they doing? They're taking that money, many of them, not all of them, but many of the times they're taking that money and investing into a business, education, ways to further increase their overall income to do what? To buy more assets and put more people in position to do more things for the family. And yes, they will take care of their elderly, right? A lot of times they're not going to the nursing home, but they've got other stuff going on too. And so I'm so glad you brought that up, because I'm like, I guess I have to go make another video on this just to address some of this stuff. Because again, I get no love on TikTok. I just put some stuff over there to, just to keep it going. And honestly, I feel like I'm not getting no love anywhere on social media right now, especially Facebook, because a lot of times they're not showing any of my posts to anybody. But it is what it is. So it took off. I am now a TikTok sensation. Y'all can now refer to me as the rebel, the TikTok sensation. Of course, I'm joking, y'all. But I think that's important, though, right? Because as we talk about generational wealth, we have to have firm foundations, right? So that's why I keep harping on, those skills: cash management, risk management. We know tax management at all levels, but we gotta give it a placeholder, right? Mm-hmm. And then the investment management. You don't think investment management is the most important thing, contrary to the rest of the people out there participating in the financial pornography industry. Right. You think it's the least important.
I do. I think that if you go back and call me out of my statement here, we have a nice audience watching us. More people will watch it. Go back 50 years. I know my hands are up here, so I'm not Googling anything as we're talking. Go back 50 years. I'm 52, so go back 60 years. Go back to before I was born, and take the Dow Jones Industrial Average has 30 stocks on it. Take stock number one, the company that was in first place, the company that was in fourth place, and the company that was in 12th place, and tell me if they're all still in business and what their return has been over that 60-year period. I argue it's going to be somewhere around 9 to 11%. It doesn't matter what you invest in. It's been proven that 93.5, that's a big number, 93.5% of investment returns are determined by your asset allocation. 2% are determined by the stocks you picked inside of that asset allocation. Over time, it doesn't matter. If you buy a broad-based variety of assets, some are going to go out of business, some are going to be the next Apple, and the majority of them are going to be within 3 standard deviations of mean and settle around that 7 to 10%. I don't believe investment management needs to be an active thing. I'm a fan of passive investment management. One more book that I'll tout is The 5 Mistakes Every Investor Makes and How to Avoid Them by Peter Mallouk, Mallouk. He talks about what I'm talking about here with active versus passive investment management. I think there was only one fund, the Legg Mason Fund of the mid 80s, that successfully outperformed the market for more than 12 years. They did it for 15 years, and everybody said the curse is over. We finally found the active manager who can beat the S&P moving forward in perpetuity. And then in 4 successive years, they lost 200 collective %.
That might have been Fidelity. That might have been the Magellan Fund with
Peter Lynch.
Yes, because I believe he beat the market around that same time. But I don't want to nerd out. You know we will nerd out.
Yep.
But I pulled up this book. I don't know if you know who William Darst is, right? But William Darst is like an OG in asset allocation, and he's up there with the farmers and the rest of the theorists up there. And he says the same exact thing you says. 91% of a return. You can attribute 91% of a person's return based on their asset allocation, meaning what's the mix of stocks? What's the mix of bonds? What's the mix of cash, commodities, Forex, international stocks and bonds?
It's not about stock picking. It's not about stock picking. It's not about active management. I have a concept that I've coined. I wrote a white paper on it, and I'm probably going to expand it into an ebook. And the acronym is DARE, D-A-R-E, Dare to be a great investor. And the acronym stands for D, dollar cost averaging, A, asset allocation, R, rebalancing, E, expenses, minimizing your expenses. You do these 4 things, you're wealthy. You do it over time. You do it over time.
That.
You're wealthy.
Like
Dare to be a great investor.
But nobody wants to be wealthy 30, 40 years from now.
That's the problem.
Right now.
Nobody wants to be
Don't
rich
talk to me about long term. I want it now. Like spoiled little children. I want it now. That can just hit the microwave and say, give me my popcorn in 5 seconds.
I make $47,000 a year, but tomorrow I want a yacht. That's who we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, we've been off for a minute. I don't know how much time we got. I know you're traveling with the wife and everything. So
she just came in with dinner. She's looking at me.
Oh, okay. So you haven't ate. I haven't eaten my vittles yet. The audience knows I don't mess around when it's time to get my vittles. So I'll be out on y'all. But real quick, we're going to talk about Amazon again in our thoughts. But again, just wanted to run through the chat. Let everybody know that they're being acknowledged. I'd like to acknowledge everybody. This is a family show. I consider everybody here community. So Carl said health, which is very important. Absolutely. Jose says definitely squaring up. Yes, I'm squaring up with somebody. Yes, health is wealth. What's up, Jerry? Jerry, I know you're from LA now. At this point, Jerry, you want to tell us what part of LA you're from. You from Compton? You from Watts? You at, what is it, San Bernardino? I haven't been to
Santa
LA
Monica. He from where they shot Father the Bride, San Bernardino.
All right, Carl says, Blueprint for Black Power by Dr. Amos Wilson. He's a G, by the way. That one woke me up from psychological economics. You know what? I'm going to do some shows on Dr. Amos Wilson's. I have some clips of his. I actually have the DVD of the Blueprint for Black Power from Dr. Amos Wilson. He makes some great arguments. I would suggest everybody read it as well. And he's talking about it. He's talking about wealth, but he's talking about it from a Black context. So, all right, so you just put in your card. That's the book you recommended, Our People. What is it again?
Our Kind of People.
Our Kind of People.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to say this to y'all. If y'all can buy that from a Black bookstore, please do. I know I put up the Amazon link because that's the quickest thing I can find. But if you are anywhere near a Black bookstore, call them up and just ask them to order it for you. All right, let's see. All right, Jimmy says, thank you. In their defense, once you sleep on high thread count, there's no going back. Listen, Mariah was 12 octaves, 8 octaves, however many octaves it is.
Yeah, she was special.
Yes, she's still special, right?
Well, Nick put the cannon on her.
He put the cannon on her, but I'm going to tell you, her Christmas song, I believe, is the most played Christmas song ever, and she owns it.
All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Yes, and she makes bank off of that song.
Yeah.
All right. So Carl says, make sure they deal with matters of importance like cleaning bad debt and stay out of debt, i.e. hold them accountable. Yep. Okay, I will definitely drop the link, but just Google youtube.com or go to youtube.com and put in the search Wealth Our Way.
Wealth Our Way Network. My old page is Wealth Our Way. So Wealth Our Way Network.
Oh,
I did get some subscription notifications. So I thank everyone here for doing that. I love you guys for that. Appreciate you.
Hold on. Did I show the right network?
You did. Originally? You showed Wealth Our Way Network. Yep.
Okay. All right. I will try to drop the link, but come on, y'all. Y'all got fingers? Y'all got fingers?
So what's funny is every time I ask somebody to subscribe and they hit me with drop the link, and I have to remind them, do you see all the gray in my beard? I don't know how to drop no link. I can just tell you it's Wealth Our Way Network on YouTube, baby.
All right, so Carl Blank dropped, subscribed. Northern Bell subscribed. Jose subscribed. Leticia subscribed. Thank you. I hope all of y'all have subscribed to my YouTube channel too. Not to steal any thunder from Tank. All right, y'all can all hear it. Hey, Levon, I didn't know you were here. Welcome. That's my sis right there.
This the family. This the brain trust right here. We got
to Levon?
Buy the hood. Yep. And the Finance Rebel, are the community's people. And I'm, like I said, I'm glad to be tagging along.
All right. What's the name of that book? Which one?
The one you just said about asset allocation.
Oh, you know what? I don't know if I would recommend this. This is it's called Mastering the Art of Asset Allocation. Mastering the Art of Asset Allocation. But I don't have the cover. I actually stole this from my old boss, my old mentor, Steve Sanders. He's a
Steve Sanders. I know Steve.
Yes. Yeah, David M. Darst. I'm sorry, I said William. David M. Darst. So it's Mastering the Art of Asset Allocation, Comprehensive Approaches to Mastering Risk and Optimizing Returns. Because one thing in investment management that nobody talks about is risk management. Now, not the risk management we were just talking about with insurance, but risk management as it relates to investments. And if you really want to get to the heart of the matter of wealth creation, there's a term that I would encourage all of you to look up, and it's called capital allocation. And capital allocation is really the key to wealth building.
100%.
That involves risk. Basically is, how do I get the highest return with the lowest level of risk? Why lowest level of risk? Because too much risk will wipe everything out.
When I was a broker at Smith Barney, we first got with Consulting Group, which was the arm that vetted all the money managers. One of the coolest named money managers that was out there in my mind was NWQ, Northwest Quadrant. Because if you look at the risk return quadrant, there's 4 quadrants. The Northwest is where you would desire to be. It gets you a higher level of return than the benchmark with less risk. That's what everybody wants. They want a higher return with less risk. So I always thought Northwest Quadrant was cool to have that name.
Now I want to touch on this real quick, right? So some people say, I've had some, not many people, but I've had a couple people say, well, Kamari, you don't have a whole lot of followers. Why should I listen to you? And I say, well, if I was, this triggered me, right? If I showed a Lamborghini, if I went and rented a Lamborghini, because I'm making enough money to rent a Lamborghini. If I make enough money to rent a Bentley. I make enough money to rent the private plane sessions that they do photo shoots on. I make enough money to do that. But I realize that. So Tank and I, we had these low numbers. All these other Fugazi people have like hundreds of thousands of people. I wonder why.
I used to tell people
why.
this in my brick and mortar business, because I'm not a big dress up guy. You have to really
I wear this every day.
You really got to be, something has to be going on for me to show up in a suit and tie. And I had to defend myself to one of my biggest clients one day, because we had the city of Philadelphia come to my office. He was the top person on the Sixers at the time, and they wanted to collaborate with him, and I was his business manager. So the meeting was held in my office, and I'm sitting there in shorts and t-shirt, and all of the Philadelphia mayoral people come in suits and ties. And after they left, he's like, no, I'm sorry. Before they got there, he's like, Tank, man, you couldn't dress up for this meeting? Man, these people are coming up. I said, dude, it's not the package. I said, every time you get a shiny box, there's nothing of value in the box. I said, you want the content of the box to be dope, not the packaging. I said, I've been at more events with dudes with $2,000 suits, great shoes, and a Rolex who have nothing to offer you. They just got slick talk and a good appearance. I said, give me the bummy person who knows what the hell they're talking about every day of the week. Social media has done the same thing. Pose in front of the plane with the bad chick with her breast spilling out her dress and the Lamborghini to the left of you, and you'll get 10,000 followers. Come on here in a Flash Gordon t-shirt and actually know what they're talking about, and you got 9 followers. So I blame the people. Like, I blame the audiences. I don't blame me. I don't blame you. Be out there looking for stuff. Flash and dash will cost you your cash.
Flash and dash will cost you your cash. Somebody put that in the chat, please.
Oh my God, I need to put that on a t-shirt. That works right there.
If you don't, I will, and I'll split the profits with you.
My man.
Listen, I believe in doing ethical business now. I might get your idea, but I'll break you off.
I'm not a take action type of person. I'm an ideal guy, so we can work well together. I'll throw it out there. You put it on the shirt. Let's get that bread.
Okay. Somebody type that in the chat for me. All right. So, Jerry, thank you, sir. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Appreciate you over there on YouTube. Appreciate you. Oh, Gardini. All right. So you over there in Cali, Gardini. Okay. Cool. All right. Levon has subscribed. Thanks, Vonnie.
Thank you, guys.
Y'all can hear it. Northern Message. I tried to drop the link, but it didn't work. I think you have to be a moderator. That's weird. Okay. We'll get it at some point. All right. Hey, Ryan says numbers not always an indicator of great content. Keep it up, Kamari. Thank you. You know what? Appreciate you for that, sir. You are right about that. You are definitely right about that. I mean, I've been doing this for a while, and I know a lot of times people are embarrassed about their money situation. So sometimes I will see people out, or I'll get a DM. Matter of fact, I got a DM while we're broadcasting here. They want me to call them. But they'll tell me that they did something and they benefited from it. And so that means they might not be a client. I might not make no money from them, but I'm helping to impact the overall wealth and health of my community. So that means a lot. All right, but I love the Flash shirt. Yes, Flash is actually, I got my comic stash over here, right? Most people were Marvel fans growing up. I'm actually a DC kid. I collected Superman, Batman, The Flash, and the Green Lantern. It actually breaks my heart that DC is doing such a trash job putting out DC movies, but that's a whole other thing. All right, Flash and Dash will cost you your cash. All right. Then it says, why I don't care how many subscribers we have. Yeah, that's a fact. But here's the thing I want y'all to look up for all y'all who are thinking about going into business, right? There's a book by a gentleman by the name of Robert Cialdini called Influence. And so the numbers will show social proof. There's a term called social proof. The more people you have that follow, that like you, it then triggers other people to say, oh, this guy's legitimate.
Right.
Not always true, but just an overall broad psychology. So now that you know that, that's part of the reason why so many people also buy followers, so they can make their numbers look bigger, so they can say that they're more legitimate.
I ain't buying no followers.
I ain't buying no followers. No. Michael, what's up, brother? What's up? All right, so last topic of the night. You gotta eat. I gotta eat. I'm hungry. Amazon stock split. Amazon stock split. So Tank and I talked about it on this show. If y'all watched any of the stuff, I did a reel on it, right? I said I got it. Full transparency, I brought like 5 shares because I've been looking at Amazon for a while. I think Amazon's going to be one of those special companies that's going to be around for a long time and that's going to generate for their shareholders. But I've already been also buying it as fractional shares. As I tell you always, you only need $1 to buy stock. Open up your Cash App account. It's probably one of the fastest ways to do it. Take $1, buy some stocks. Now, once you get a little bit more sophisticated, open up your brokerage account, your TD, your E-Trade. I'm not going to keep mentioning them because they're not paying for advertising on the show, but y'all know who they are. You can get an account, but it doesn't take a whole lot of money to begin investing. And so we saw the media run the hype up on Amazon. It was almost $2,500 before the split. It split 20 for one. And everybody's like, oh God, this is the best thing since sliced bread. Tank says, hell no.
Hell no. The only thing the stock split helps with, once again, we talked about this on my show, investor psychology is what drives markets. Nothing else does. If I don't want to buy a share of stock, if supply is not outpacing demand, demand's not outpacing supply, stock prices don't go up. Well, because people are silly and they think that when you divide a stock price and it's cheaper dollar-wise for the price, I can afford more, that will make a natural psychological bump in the stock. More people bought Amazon stock because of the split. Fundamentally, they had no reason to do so. The market capitalization of a stock are the number of shares that are outstanding times the price of that stock. That did not change for Amazon. They changed the 2 variables. They changed the number of shares outstanding and they changed the price, but they changed them proportionately. So the market cap number is exactly the same. No fundamental change on Amazon. If you didn't think it was a good idea to buy it 3 weeks ago, you shouldn't think it's a good idea to buy it because it split. If you did think it was a good idea to buy it 3 weeks ago, you should have bought it regardless of whether it split. The split is a marketing ploy. It does nothing for the value of the company, especially in a day and age when you can buy fractional shares. If you have $500 to put into Amazon, it didn't matter if a share of Amazon stock costs $10,000. You could still invest $500 in it. You would have 1/200th of the stock. And that's what you should worry about.
Facts.
The horn next time. This is done. I love the horn. I'm going to be sitting here trying to think of genius things to say just to merit the horn.
Nah, you already genius, brother. You already got it. But as you said, as I've said, this is nothing but a marketing ploy. Now, I do want to say this, right? I said Amazon Prime Day was this week. It's not. It's in July. But the timing of this set it up so well that they could roll right into Prime Day. So as Tank said, as I've said, this is a marketing ploy. Listen, it's genius.
It's not a knock on Amazon stock. Amazon stock, I agree with you. Going to be here forever. Great company. You saw what happened to Target back in May because Target has the expense of brick and mortar stores and inventory in person. Amazon has to hustle it down all the way circular. So great store, great entity, keeps growing. It truly is Amazon. It's huge. It's never going to stop growing. I'm pro Amazon. But guess what? Amazon is the 5th biggest holding of the S&P 500. I already own Amazon because I own VOO, which is the ETF for the S&P 500.
Boom. There you go. And so, again, when you're looking at these moves that people make, like I tell you, IPOs all the time really aren't about really making money for investors. There again, it's another marketing ploy, right? It's another PR scheme to bring more attention to the company. It increases the brand value. It gets people shopping for whatever their product or service is. That's what these stock splits are as well. Same thing. gives people more shopping or shopping more. That's why they lined it up the way that they did. And now Amazon Prime is coming in July. They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. All right. So as we wrap up the show, any other questions that y'all might have? We got 3 minutes. You know what? I saw one question up there. Let me grab it real quick. I believe my man Stefan had a question. Let me see if I can get to it. Real quick. And my machine is running a little slow.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to be like a black comedian and say, audience, give yourselves a round of applause. Y'all are just the most interactive, participating audience. My audience, my Wealth Our Way audience, I love y'all. Wild Nation, shout out. But y'all are really on point. Y'all have no shame of getting involved, and I love it.
Listen, that's what I like. That's what I love. It's a community show. It's a community affair. We just having a big conversation. That's all. We talking about money. I can't find it. But Stephen, I know you said, I think you said you'll send me $25 a day if I start the investment club. Listen, tax season was a bear. All right. We're going to do the investment club. Like I said, I ain't doing it for free. I'm not going to charge your arm and a leg though either. But y'all got to pay me for my time. So we'll have Tank come through. We can talk about some stuff. It'll definitely be an educational pursuit. I can't find a question, but that's what it was. I think he said something like, I'll send you $25 a day if I set up the investment club. It's coming. So just stay tuned and listen. If you want to be involved in the investment club, get on a text list because that's who it's going to first, right? That's who it's going to first. So y'all know y'all got to text 215-974-0058. Again, 215-974-0058. And you can stay in tune. So when we do launch it and we get everything scheduled and structured, because I'm a big fan of structure, I want it to be right. Then, oops, I think I put up the wrong thing. Then that way we all can be informed and stay connected. I don't know what's going on with my machine right now.
Yeah.
It's doing its own thing.
Rage against the machine.
Yes, rage against the machine. Oh man, this is okay. Well, listen, as we get out of here, because Tank needs his vittles, I definitely need my vittles. All right, Jose said he's copying a share on Friday of Amazon. Jose, you probably was already buying the fractional shares anyway. I don't know why my comments are not coming on the screen. This is crazy. Okay. All right. So I'll just read them out as we get to it. All right. Jerry says he loves the horn. Don Johnson's in the building. What's up, Don? I ain't seen you forever, brother. He said this dollar cost average. Don is correct.
He's got my superhero as his cover. I love Black Titan. Oh my God, I learned so much about vertical integration. Ridiculous. That's great book, great man.
So if y'all don't notice, I did a whole book review on Black Titan on my YouTube channel. Go check it out. It's about the story of A.G. Gaston's, right? So one of the reasons I love to do book reviews, especially about Black entrepreneurs and Black thinkers, because we didn't see a lot of this when I was growing up. Yep. I had no idea who A.G. Gaston's was until I got mid-30-ish, right? Until I started doing content stuff. He should have been a household name. Household. Black man, Jim Crow era, came a multi-billionaire, not 1, 2, 3, or 4 billions, or excuse me, millions. I believe he was 100 million strong when he wound up passing in the 80s.
Yep. Billion in today's dollars. Yeah, it's the vertical integration. Started selling insurance, then realized, hey, I could own the funeral homes, I could have the cemeteries. Vertically integrated business ahead of his time, and a time that they told us we couldn't do these things.
And super duper fun fact, he also bailed Dr. Martin Luther King out of jail on segregation because this Black man was from Birmingham, Alabama. All right, so no, Stephen, I didn't forget about you, brother. But for some reason, I'm getting some glitches and everything is not coming up. So listen, let's wrap the show. I appreciate you all being here. I'm back now. Tax season's still going crazy. Tax season's still going on. But I'm back now. You're about to see a whole new round of content from me. So stay tuned. I'm sure I'll be back before the end of the week. And y'all will see everything else coming up. But again, be sure to log in, check in, join the text community, 215-974-0058. Everybody have a good night, and I will see you the next time. Be great.
Thanks for having me, man.